Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Pamela Elaine. I am your resilience coach, and today is a webinar just for you. If you are in a relationship with someone right now, a partner, significant other, husband or wife, and you have been wanting to improve that relationship, no matter where it is on the spectrum of good or bad, but you've wanted to improve that relationship, well, you've come to the right webinar. I am delighted that you are here with me today. I would like to share with you 10 pitfalls that relationships stumble into and how to avoid them. When you understand these 10 pitfalls, you will begin to turn your relationship towards happiness. Now, just in case you're thinking, that's just not possible with my mate, my spouse, my significant other, I want to encourage you that it is possible and not to give up hope. I'm going to share some pitfalls with you right now, and we're going to get the screen up. This is my first webinar, so I want you to be patient with me and the technology. Hold tight. All right, here we are. 10 relationship pitfalls and how to avoid them. I am deeply passionate about helping relationships heal. I'm deeply passionate about helping relationships heal because I went through my own difficult relationships, several of them, 2 of which were marriages and 2 of which were divorces. I am in the space right now of helping women who have gone through divorce have a resilient life afterwards. I am in the business of helping them get their life back. And that's really satisfying work. What I discovered is that if I could help people who are still married, possibly stay married to avoid what life is like divorced, then I would be doing even better work. A little bit about me. I already told you that I was married twice. I was divorced twice. The first marriage was when I was very, very young. We were married for 4 years, no children. The second marriage, I was not so young. We were married for 18 years with 4 children. When you put children in the mix of divorce, it makes it very difficult. It makes it harder than divorce already is. I want to do something about that. I want to preserve the health and happiness of children, the health and happiness of families. And if I can do that by sharing the lessons that I have learned in my own relationships, then a lot of relationships, I believe, would stay together. Let me first give you applause. Why? Why? Because you're taking the time to listen to this webinar to find out how you can avoid the pitfalls that make relationships awful. You're taking out your time because you care about the relationship you are in. And because you care, then you can make a huge impact on that relationship, no matter what condition it's in right now. I am not promising you, if your relationship is on the brink of divorce, I'm not promising you that you won't go through that. Neither am I promising you that your relationship will be in the stratospheres of happiness and wonderfulness. But I am promising that if you take the time to really think about these pitfalls and apply the changes that are possible, then there will be a difference in your relationships. There will be a difference because you will show up different. All right, the way this webinar will work, let me just tell you. I'm going to share my lessons with you in the most direct way that I can. I am not going to sugarcoat anything because that's not what you need to hear. I am also going to share with you the pitfalls one by one, starting at number 10 down to number 1, and then share with you how to eliminate them for each one that I name. I will do a Q&A only if there are questions. If there are no questions, then I won't have any answers. And then I will also share with you how you can get more information from me. All right, let us get right into the 10 pitfalls. Are you ready? Okay. Pitfall number 10. You take your partner for granted. All right. Now, back in the day when you first hooked up with your partner, you were attending to his or her every need. You were listening, you were gentle, you were kind, you were thoughtful, you were pleasant. You did for them anything that they needed to get done. You were there for them whenever they needed you. Now that you've been with them for a while, they're like an old shoe, which you kick around here or there, you step over, or you put in the closet and you just don't take out anymore. The way to avoid this pitfall is very simply name one thing, I mean just one thing that you really liked about your partner in the beginning. Just one thing. And if you can name one thing every day, in a month, you'll have 30 things that you like about your partner. What I would encourage you to do is, with those 30 things, how about this? Write them down in a really lovely journal kind of folder or container and give it to him or her. Like, this is what I've been thinking about. And I wanted to just share what I've written down about who you are and what I'm grateful about. You will completely surprise them, but you will also delight them. Or him or her, not them. You know what I mean. Pitfall number 9. You try to change the behavior of your partner. That should be you try to change the behavior of your partner. This is a pitfall because the reality is, no matter how hard you try, you cannot, and I mean cannot, change anyone's behavior. Yes, you can threaten. Yes, you can withhold affection. Yes, you can complain and fuss. Yes, you can manipulate. You can do all of those things to try to change their behavior. But ultimately, their behavior won't change because they are who they are. And the only way that their behavior will change is when they want to change their behavior. When he or she wants to change her behavior, his behavior, that's when it will change. The other attempts to get him to change his behavior will ultimately fail. You'll be frustrated, and so will he. She will be annoyed with you, and so will you. What I would suggest to avoid this pitfall is to change your own behavior. Now, I know this is tough for most of us. It was tough for me. Because what I wanted to do was keep pointing out what he was doing wrong, what he was missing, what he wasn't doing for me, how he was aggravating me. But that didn't work, and it's not going to work. But when I decided that I would take a look at what I was doing that was annoying, that was unpleasant, that was unkind, and made an effort to switch from the negative behaving to positive behaving, then my relationships improved. Current relationships improved as a result of this technique to change my own. Number 8, you'd rather be right than in relationship. This is a pitfall because no matter what you do, or no matter what anyone else says, you have to be the one who's right in the room. You have to be the one that has all the answers. You have to be the one with the solutions. And you have to be the one who must be heard and whose words should be followed. That's a tough person to live with. When you do that, you distance the very thing you say you want, which is closeness and intimacy. It's hard to be with someone who wants to be right all the time. If you want to be right all the time, it's probably better for you to be in a relationship with yourself than in a relationship with someone. If that's your thing, like if being right is really important to you, then it's okay. Just admit that that's how you come across. That's who you want to be. You want to be right. It's better to be clear and admit that, be honest and direct about that, than to pretend you don't want to be right when you're trying to be right all the time. So the avoidance of that, as I said, is to admit that that's who you are and you just want to be right. And hopefully the person that you're in relationship with will accept that. Or you can admit that sometimes you're not right, that sometimes you are wrong, which leads us to pitfall number 7. You never say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Now, before I go further with this pitfall and the others, I want to just pause and go back to the introductory remarks, because I wanted to tell you that when you come into a relationship with someone and you're not happy in that relationship, I bet if I were to sit down and talk to you as your coach, you would tell me all the things about your partner that you don't like. That's what we do, right? When there's a problem, it's somebody else's problem. When things aren't going right, it's because of the other person. The way I want you to approach this webinar and these pitfalls, the rest of these pitfalls and the ones that I've already shared, is this way. Think about yourself. Think about who you are in relationship with your partner and how you show up. Do you show up in these ways that I'm pointing out as pitfalls? Not what she's doing or not doing, not what he's doing or not doing, but what you're bringing. If you take on this challenge I'm offering to take a look at yourself, that's where transformation happens. It doesn't happen when you're looking at the other person's faults, okay? So can we agree that from this point forward, you're going to be asking yourself, do I do this? Is this a pitfall I'm bringing to the relationship? If it is, then be willing to correct it. Number 7. All right, we're back on track. Number 7, you never say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Being in a relationship with someone who can never say they're sorry is being in a burdensome relationship. It is. Because it goes back to number 8, where you always have to be right. It's okay to say that you're sorry, that you were wrong. In fact, it is a sign of strength. The weak easily keep from saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong. That's easy to do. Strong people, emotionally mature, say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. When you do that, you open up the heart of the person you're in relationship with. And an open heart makes for an intimate relationship. A closed heart makes for a cold relationship. Number 6, you use your kids to get revenge. Ugh. This is my biggest pet peeve. I'm just going to have to put it out there. You throw your kids under the bus so that you can get back at your partner. Now, I understand the emotion of revenge. It is powerful. It is strong. It will drive you to do all kinds of ungodly things. However, when you put your kids in the mix, then you create for them an emotionally turbulent life. They are innocent in all respects in the difficulty that you have with your partner. They are innocent. They shouldn't be a part of what you're dealing with and what you're going through. Leave them out of this. When you bring them in, you show yourself to be smaller than you are, when you really are strong, when you really can be mature. When you are feeling these strong urges of revenge and you just want to get back at him and hurt him, be mean to him, say awful things, I invite you to talk through those emotions with someone who can be a confidant. Scream, cry, throw things against the wall, whatever you need to do to release the energy of revenge. It's an emotion, emotion, energy in motion. Revenge is an energy that you have to release in order to feel better and more in control. Talk to her or him, that is a confidant. Scream, holler, tell him how upset you are. Tell him what your partner did, that you don't like it. And how could he do this, that, and the other? How could she say this and that? That's okay. Because once you empty yourself of that strong emotion, then you can get calm and clear about what to do next. How to avoid throwing your kids in this or using your kids to get revenge is to go back to the gratitude. Okay. Let me give you a quote by Plato. A grateful mind is a great mind, which eventually attracts to itself great things. Gratitude, being grateful for one thing about your partner, even if it's hard, do it. One thing that you're grateful for. Write that down. Revisit it. Now, if that's just too hard, like you're like, I can't come up with one thing that I like or I'm grateful for about my partner. Okay, I get that. Then write down one thing that you're grateful for in life in general, whether it's your job, whether it's a friend that you can vent to, whether it's your health, whether it's your healthy kids, whatever you can come up with that you can be grateful for and you feel grateful about it, use that as leverage in this to avoid this pitfall. Number 6. Number 5, you expect your partner to make you happy. Now, I know that your marriage vows were something about making one another happy. And if you didn't get married, you had a virtual vow of making one another happy. There is this unarticulated expectation that you'll make one another happy. You expect him to make you happy. He expects you to make him happy. And that is just normal, but it's off. It is a burden on anyone to be responsible for your happiness. Because when she stops making you happy, you're like, where are you? You're out the door. You push back, you pull back. When she stops making you happy, you don't want to be bothered with her anymore. You're off doing something new and different. That's why it can't be about her or him making you happy. It's got to be about you making you happy. That's to avoid this pitfall. You find the things that make you happy, that make you satisfied, that make you feel good about who you are in this life and in the space that you are in the relationship that you're in. You have to do that for yourself. When you do, when you're the one that takes on the responsibility for your happiness, guess what? You are a happy person to be with. Who doesn't want to be with a happy person? Pitfall number 4, God, your higher power, is an afterthought rather than a forethought. Now, I know that there are different faiths here, and I respect that. There are different faiths, there are different beliefs of faith. That's cool. So let me just be universal here and say that your higher power is an afterthought rather than a forethought. Being in relationship with another person is a spiritual undertaking. It is spiritual. Yes, flesh and blood connect, But behind the flesh and blood is a spirit that longs to connect with another spirit. And when those spirits connect, it creates a beautiful physical relationship without having a higher power to which you go to talk, to meditate, to hear from. Then you're missing the beauty of a powerful relationship with yourself and with another. It is from a higher source that you get wisdom, answers, solutions, direction for your life and for the relationship that you're in. So go to the source, get what you need, bring it back, and have an amazing relationship. Number 3, you don't take responsibility for your own baggage. Everybody brings baggage to a relationship, period. You can't say that you don't, because you do. You have had experiences in your life before you met your partner, when you were a child, that affect how you feel about yourself, affect your thinking, affect your behavior. Some good, some not so good. I'm talking about the not so good. Baggage like you have a temper. Baggage like you don't feel good about yourself. These are things that affect your relationship. And then what you tend to do is you blame your partner for your own baggage. If your partner says something that pisses you off, the first thing you do is what? You tell them how they have made you feel, that you're upset and you're mad and you're angry and you're unhappy now because of what they said, what they did, or what they didn't say, or what they didn't do. What you must do is own your own hangups. This is my hangup. My hangup is whenever I see you turn your head towards another female, that I think you're going to cheat on me. That's your hangup, not his. And if you're willing to take the responsibility of that, such as, my dad was not faithful and he was checking out all kind of other women, that made me feel very insecure about men and my relationship with men. You own that, because the moment you own it, you can correct it. Then you'll stop seeing your partner and every other man as someone who's going to cheat on you like your dad did, or like your mom did on your father. However this goes. Take responsibility for your baggage. You relieve the stress from the relationship when you do that, and you take control, and control is power. All right, number 2, pitfall number 2. You don't take time to nurture your relationship. Now, you have to remember when you first met him or her, how you were combing your hair and putting on your makeup and making sure you had smell good going on. Your clothes were looking good. You were at the right size that you felt good about, felt good in your clothes. You took time to nurture yourself, and you spent a lot of time with him. You spent a lot of time with her. You would call, you would check in, you would go out on dates, you would hold hands, you would look in one another's eyes. Now, you hardly go out on any dates. If you go out on any dates, when you come home from work, you're complaining rather than encouraging. You're finding fault rather than lifting up. You don't do what you used to do that made your relationship good in the beginning. Your relationship is bound to fail if you don't take time to nurture it. Anything that isn't nurtured is going to die. Anything living that isn't nurtured is going to die. Take time to nurture your relationships. Now, if it's been a long time, okay, it's been a long time, you haven't been nurturing the relationship. I know, again, this is about you, not about her, not about him. If you haven't taken time it's been a long time since you've nurtured your relationship, start small. Start with something small, maybe just a letter, write a love letter, or just take a walk, go out for coffee, go see a movie, Watch a movie together in your house if you don't want to spend money. Do something small on a weekly basis, and over time, things will begin to improve. It's the compound effect. A little bit consistently makes a huge difference. Relationship pitfall number 1. Yes, stop taking care of yourself. I touched a little bit on this in an earlier pitfall, but now I really want to just nail this one down. You are now in a place, you've come to this place where everyone is first. Your children are first, your job is first, your employer is first, your aging mom is first, your aging father is first, your siblings are first, your neighbors are first, your organization is first. Everything and everyone is first in your life, and you have put yourself on the back burner. Now you look at yourself, you've gained more weight than you wanted to, your hair is not as healthy looking and robust as it once was, right? Your skin is wrinkling. You look at yourself in the mirror and you don't see the person you once were. That's because you stopped taking care of yourself as a priority. The only way to start taking care of yourself is to make yourself a priority, and it's okay to be selfish about that. It's okay to put your air mask on first before you put an air mask on the person sitting next to you or your child that's with you. You've got to do this. You've got to take care of yourself. And one of the ways to do that is to do something for 10 minutes each day that's all about you. Whether that is you listen to 10 minutes of inspirational music, or you watch a video that inspires you. You spend 10 minutes dancing in your birthday suit in the bathroom or through the house, heck, wherever you want to do that. What's important is that you give yourself 10 minutes, and you have 10 minutes. I promise you, you have 10 minutes. Take it, use it for yourself. Over time, you'll find yourself wanting a few more extra minutes. Work yourself up to 30 minutes a day doing something that makes you feel good. And we can't leave without a bonus pitfall. The bonus pitfall I want to offer to you, which was the most transformative when I learned this one. You don't speak your partner's love language. Some of you know what this is. Some of you, this may be the first time you've ever heard of, what's a love language? Dr. Gary Chapman wrote about 5 love languages that are predominant in relationships. This is a language that your partner speaks through action that you have to learn and recognize and then give it back to your partner. What do I mean? There are 5 love languages, as I said, written by Dr. Gary Chapman. And the subtitle of the book is The Secret to Love That Lasts. Words of affirmation, 1. Acts of service, 2. Receiving gifts, 3. Quality time, 4. Physical touch, 5. Words of affirmation. This is what your partner speaks, what your partner wants. So if your partner is someone who says words that are affirming to you or to others, well, I really like that dress that you have on. It's so beautiful on you. Wow, you're so smart. You did a really good job on your homework. Thank you so much for taking out the trash. That was so kind. Every time you do that, it really makes me feel good. If your partner says affirming things to you, that's what your partner wants from you. You, in turn, must affirm your partner, because that's the way he knows that you love him. That's the way she knows that you love her, because you affirm her through your words. Acts of service. Thank you so much for taking out the trash. This is, if your partner is someone who does things, he takes out the trash, he sweeps up, he makes the bed, he cleans the kitchen, he fills your car up with gas. He is someone that understands love through acts of service and needs that from you. Okay, you get it? He needs you to do things for him because that's how he knows you really love him. Now, you may be someone whose language is words of affirmation, and so you don't really speak acts of service, but that's not about you. That's about your partner. He needs to know you love him by the things you do for him. Receiving gifts. If your partner is someone, she picks up that tie for you because she saw it. She knew that you would really like that tie. It goes so well with the new suit that you bought. If she brings home, she makes you a cake and wraps it. Who wraps a cake? I don't know. But if she makes you something special and wraps it up for you and gives it to you as a gift, she's saying to you that this is her language of love. She needs from you gifts. Give her things. Doesn't have to be expensive. Doesn't even have to cost anything. You can give her a gift of writing her a letter. That's just as good. And that's also words of affirmation too at the same time. If your partner is giving gifts to you and to others, that's her language of love. Give her gifts, make her feel good. Quality time. This is a no-brainer, right? Quality time is if your partner is saying to you, can we just hang out? Can we just sit on the couch together and watch a TV show, watch the news? Can we eat dinner together? There's all this together stuff that he's constantly saying. He wants to spend time with you, he's constantly saying. That's his language of love. What he wants from you is to say, hey, baby, how about we just spend the weekend together? Just you and me. We're going to do whatever we want to do. The rest of the world is on hold. That will turn him on. He will love that. His language of love is to be with you. And if you take the time to be with him, he knows that you love him. Last, physical touch. This is also a no-brainer. Wow. Physical touch, like to put your hand in a sexual or non-sexual way on your partner tells your partner that you love him. And you'll know that if your partner is always touching, hugging, kissing, affectionate, he does that, she does that because that's what she wants in return. Now, you may be someone's like, I don't do all that physical touchy stuff. We didn't do that in my family. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with taking out the trash because I know that's important. Well, that's great. But if your partner's love language is physical touch and yours is acts of service and you're never touching him, then you've got a problem. You've got to learn to touch. You were attracted to her anyway, right? That's why you got into a relationship with her. In that case, you knew that she's a touchy-feely person. Now you must find a way to let her know you love her by touching her back. Those are the 5 languages of love, 5 love languages. Get the book, go on the website, learn about your partner's language. There's an assessment on the website that you can conduct to see what yours is and what your partner's is. Then there are practical steps and guides for you to start practicing that partner's language of love. Okay? All right. This would be the Q&A time. I don't believe that we have any questions. So let me see here. If there are any questions, I'm going to go to the chat room. And there are no questions. So with that, I am going to thank you so much for being on this webinar, for taking the time to listen in. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any thoughts that you want to share with me, I would be delighted to hear them. You would just email me, and I will show you how to get in touch with me. You will email me right there, Pamela Elaine at dfgreatness.com. I am your resilience coach. You can also call me at 215-395-6043. I would love to hear from you. Let me know how things are going, which pitfall you found most interesting. If you need some coaching advice around that pitfall, then drop me a line, give me a call. We'd be glad to share a little bit more of my thoughts. For now, take care, and glad you were able to join me.